Over the weekend, Trump continued to have his coronavirus press conferences, which are ostensibly to update America about the response of the government. They don't tend to do that. What they tend to do is produce moments like this, where a reporter, I believe for CBS News, asked him tough questions about what he knew and when he knew it, considering what he was telling his fans to do, come to his rallies and all of that, and he did not respond well to her tough line of questioning.
Same thing about you, that you should have warned them the virus was spreading like wildfire through the month of February instead of holding rallies with thousands of people. Why did you wait so long to warn them?
Who you with?
And why did you not have social distancing until March 16th?
Who you with?
I'm Weijia Jiang with CBS News.
So, if you look at what I did in terms of cutting off or banning China from coming in.
Chinese nationals. But by the way, not Americans who are also coming from China.
Nice and easy. Just relax. We cut it off. People were amazed. These gentlemen, everybody was amazed that I did it. We had 21 people in a room. Everybody was against it but me. Dr. Fauci said, had I not done that, perhaps tens of thousands, and maybe much more than that, people would have died. I was very early. Very, very early. And we just you saw Brett Baer making a statement. They had a debate well into February. And not even mentioned, it wasn't even mentioned, the Democrats. We were very early. Oh, I'm the president. And you know what I just did? And you know what I just...
And by the way, when you issued the ban, the virus was already here.
Okay, and you know how many people, when I issued the ban, how many cases of virus were in the United States when I issued the ban? Do you know the number? No, how many cases? Remember I said one person. How many cases were here when I issued the ban?
But did you know?
No, you have to do your research. How many?
I did my research. On the 23rd of March, you said you knew this was going to be a pandemic.
Can I tell you what? I did know it. I did know it. All I have to do is look.
So you knew
Anybody knew it. Just, are you ready? How many cases were in the United States when I did my ban? How many people had died in the United States?
So do you acknowledge that you didn't think
Keep your voice down, please. Keep your voice down.
Did you not?
How many cases were in the United States? I did a ban where I'm closing up the entire country. How many people died?
And that's a fair point.
How many people died in the United States? And yet I closed up the country, and I believe there were no deaths, 0 deaths at the time I closed up the country. Nobody was there. And you should say thank you very much for good judgment.
You should say thank you very much for good judgment after he repeatedly, like, I hate using the word petulant or childlike, like a 5-year-old, continue to say, nice and easy, just relax. You should say thanks. Keep your voice down, he says to this. He can't, it's a reporter, she's female, she's not white. Those 3 things, he can't take it. The second he saw her sitting there, it was under his skin already.
Yeah, and Trump is also foiled by one other thing, which is that she's good looking. And so he, like, in his brain, there's a short circuit happening where he doesn't know. He's like, all right, do we go xenophobia? But she's got eyes. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it's hard for him. But yeah, I was waiting for him to like go like steady girl, you know, and talk to her like she's a horse, you know, like, and also I you know, you have to hand it to this reporter, just the amount of bravery that it takes to not only ask him a tough question, but interrupt him and go harder again. And then sort of sit there as he tells you to keep your voice down, which I would have gotten up and thrown a note. I would gone straight up Zaidi and thrown a shoe at him, you know, 2006 or whatever. Shout out to the people who remember that.
I do.
Yeah. But like, you know, that it takes, again, you're saying as a woman of color, sitting there as a reporter, as any reporter, just confronting Trump, that takes a whole lot of bravery.
Yeah. She did great. So yeah, as you pointed out, like she's attractive, but he hates her, and he hates her even more because she's attractive. I mean, there are a number of people who have an incel mentality that occasionally still have sex, but still look at the world like an incel. They hate and fear and are suspicious of women because they know deep down that they are so awful that no woman could actually legitimately be interested in them. And so he's had to trick women or try to impress them throughout his entire life. And so he sees a woman like that and thinks, I wish I could be with that person, but she's being mean to her, and so I'm going to be childish and rude and petulant and all those words.
Yeah.
The issue too, though, is that there were a lot of issues with what he said. So he at one point said if he hadn't shut down travel from China, which again, I'm glad she pointed out, was not everyone. It was Chinese nationals. And when he did it, the virus was already here. There's a lot of issues here. That tens of thousands would have died. Well, I got a news update for you. Trump, tens of thousands have died. 4 tens of thousands actually have died. So that didn't work. The idea that he would keep bragging about it, I say almost every show, he kept saying over and over, how many people had died when I shut down? 0 had died. 0. Okay, well, 40,000 have died now. So it looks like that was not adequate, that was not enough to stop literally almost a Vietnam of Americans dying. So maybe stop bragging about the thing that has failed worse than perhaps any government action in a living memory.
Yeah. And what she said was super important. You pointed out, but let's just double down on it. I mean, she should have even stuck to this point, is that banning Chinese nationals does nothing. Like, that is literally just xenophobia. You're just like, well, if you don't have a U.S. passport, or if you're not an American, right, if you're not a citizen or whatever, have a visa, then you don't get to come back. It's like, that doesn't, it's a colorblind coronavirus, all right? It doesn't care. You're the one who's idiotic enough to just apply the travel ban to Chinese nationals. 40,000 people should not be let into the country. And I don't agree with making it, I think Biden put out an ad that was like a little bit borderline xenophobic about, Trump wasn't tough enough to China. No. This isn't about whether we like China or not. This is about, if you're going to have a travel ban, that means everybody, no matter where you're from, no matter what you look like, no matter what, passport or visa you hold.
Yeah. Yeah. And a few other issues with what he said. You can so easily trick him, either specifically or just by the nature of what's going on, into backing himself into a position that makes no sense. So he clearly didn't think that coronavirus was serious. He might still not think it's serious, but he definitely didn't think it for literally months, January, February, and March. He wasn't willing to do anything to stop its spread. He didn't think that it would be a big issue. That is obvious, but he can't say that now because it looks bad. And so he has to say things like what he said a few weeks ago, which was, I always knew it was going to be a pandemic. I knew before anyone that it would be a pandemic. Okay, so he says that because he thinks it makes him look smart rather than stupid, which is what reality makes him look like. But then, as she pointed out, okay, if that's the case, why were you packing stadiums full of your fans? You're saying you knew it was going to be a pandemic, you knew it was going to spread, but you didn't warn them. In fact, you encouraged them to come together into a big group. Well, was the goal to kill your own followers? Why would you do that if, as you say, you knew it was going to be a pandemic? The honest answer is that he didn't think it was going to be a pandemic. So he was being a little bit less irresponsible, specifically with his own fans' lives, just irresponsible with all of our lives.
Yeah.
And if you went to one of those rallies, I know that you're inoculated against reason, but he was willing to let you die. That's what he's telling you. He knew you could get sick. He knew you could die, but he wasn't willing to call off his stupid little rally.
No, and in a way, they know that too, right? They know they are sacrificial lambs only for Trump, that they are tools and they don't mind being tools. And this is what a neo-fascist authoritarian mentality breeds. At those rallies, he explicitly said, coronavirus is the new Democratic hoax. That's exactly what he told all of those thousands of people gathered to see him. So you not only didn't take it seriously and encourage this rally, but you then said it was a straight up made up hoax. And we are now still seeing the impact of that lie.
Yeah. Well, and let's go one step further. So as you pointed out, he said it at that rally. So he said it was a hoax. And they always respond, hey. He wasn't saying that the whole disease was a hoax. He was saying that the media's coverage of it. Because remember, even though he now says the media was downplaying it, at that point they were saying the media was overplaying it, implying that it could be something, really dangerous that would kill tens of thousands of Americans? He was just pointing out that that was a hoax. But wait. He also, at that point, wants you to believe that he already knew it would be a pandemic and it would kill all of these people. So none of this makes any sense whatsoever.
Don, it's a 7D hoax, okay?
You got to move the piece down to there and then that swings around and then there. It's a Rubik's Cube of hoax. No, the hoax is that he cared and knew. He's incompetent and ignorant. That is the answer to literally everything. It's the simplest answer. It's also the most accurate. Occam's razor, but for Trump. Trumpum's razor. That's what I'm going to call it. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.